So for a while there, for like, because I went on vacation and shit, and I was only watching American movies for at least 2 weeks. I was watching just kind of more mainstream American and then some indie stuff with my family because, I can't just drop the foreign films on my family because, like, my stepdad doesn't want to read subtitles and, like, my brother isn't a sophisticated enough film watcher, but hopefully he'll get there eventually.
He's getting there, dude. I'm really impressed that he's, like, enjoying Oppenheimer and stuff. If you told me that he sat through Oppenheimer, let alone enjoyed it,
yeah.
I would have been like, you're lying to me. But now he's at an older age. Now.
Yeah, he's older age and he's watching more. Like he liked There Will Be Blood a lot, like Place Beyond the Pines.
Yeah, that's cool.
But he's still not. I'm still not ready to like show him a foreign film because I think he needs to be probably like. Because I think I started really getting into foreign films when I was like 21, at least like 21.
Yeah.
And then maybe like 23 is like really when I was like going 23 hard.
For me as well. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like you gotta like he's not ready yet. So I didn't watch like a foreign film for a long time. And then I came back from my vacation, and then you and I finally watched Fallen Angels from 1995, written and directed by the one and only WKW.
Wong Kar-wai, baby.
AKA Wong Kar-wai. And
I'm not the biggest Wong Kar-wai fan from what I've seen.
Yeah.
I've seen Chungking Express and I've seen In the Mood for Love. I thought In the Mood for Love was really good.
Yeah.
Really well done. Really heartfelt love story that's just... There's something so compelling about just this love story that they're in love, but they can't admit that they're in love because if they were to admit that, they would just be just as bad as their partners who are having an affair. So it's like something so nuanced about that Wong Kar-wai does so well. And I really love that movie. Chungking Express, I don't know. It a lot of people like live and die on that hill.
Yeah.
I'm not one of those. It didn't blow me away or anything. I felt like the stories weren't fleshed out well enough, whatnot. And I just wasn't like that into it. Stylistically, Wong Kar-wai has always had a unique cinematic voice, though, which is something I really appreciate about him. I felt like all the pieces finally came together in Fallen Angels, where I was like blown away by this movie. This movie was amazing, and I finally got it. I was like, oh shit, yeah.
In the Mood for Love and Chungking Express are like his like two like most famous films, and I really like his first film though, As Tears Go By, but that's not like necessarily in his style. It's more of like a genre piece, probably for like a studio, and he didn't really know like what he was doing at that certain point. He hadn't developed a style, and then his next film, Days of Being Wild, this is really his entry into his whole stylistic back and forth intertwining love story type love triangle, and also the way it's shot, it's really, really beautiful. And then we have, after that, he made Chungking Express, which is like really famous. I wasn't too big on that either. I do love In the Mood for Love, but I just want to say like Chungking Express and In the Mood for Love move over, because we got Fallen Angels. Fucking move over, because Fallen Angels is the best one out of all of those movies.
It's the best one I've seen of his, for sure. Like,
it's fucking really good.
I don't know how... I mean, I've heard of this movie here and there. It's like...
Yeah,
it was kind of like something like he wanted... This is what he wanted Chungking Express to be, or it was kind of inspired by a story in Chungking Express. Dude, he fucking pulls off a master class here. Like,
oh, yeah.
Everything fits together so well. Like, the thing that... I was like, oh, he's nailing it here. Like, the first time I realized that watching Fallen Angels is when there's the shootout scene and the fucking sick-ass Hong Kong music is playing, and it's the slow shutter speed that he does in, like, all of his movies in a shootout scene, and I'm like, dude, this works. This fucking works right here, you know what I mean? Like,
it's cool.
It's so cool.
No, just, like, right off the bat, I was like, okay, this is shot really cool. The editing's amazing. The lighting is amazing. All these characters are like so cool looking. And then I'm kind of like, okay, well, this is like a good start, but like we'll see like how it goes. Like, and then, but just the way he does this sort of intertwining story, it's like I could follow it the whole time. Like, I think when I watched Days of Being Wild and then Chungking Express, I was kind of like, I didn't really know what was going on sometimes. But this one, I could like really like, I could actually follow along the intertwining stories and the characters and stuff. Like, because first of all, we have the hitman, and then his partner, who's like a girl who like
she's
helps.
like his manager, basically. She's the one that sets up the hits and everything.
Yeah, she helps him set up the hits, and you have those two stories, and then you have this guy who can't talk.
His whole thing is at night when stores and restaurants are closed, he breaks into them and he runs them
Yeah.
as if they were his.
Yeah. And also he like goes into people's lives and forces them to like get haircuts and shit, or like forces people to get ice cream, or like
because it's like it's his job for the night. He's like, I'm a barber for the night, so like I have to fucking cut this guy's hair, and this guy's like, fuck, I want a haircut. And he's like, no, forcing him down, and like kind of, and like the only way he'll ever lay off is if they like finally give him a little bit of cash. And it's not about the money for him; it's about like doing a good job, but he's doing such a shit job.
Yeah.
That's so compelling, so interesting. And then you have this other girl, Blondie.
Yeah, there's like a love triangle thing going on in there too. I'd have to rewatch it again to really get the dynamic of it, but
yeah,
like people definitely like a love triangle type vibe where she's like meets the guy who's taking up all these stores, and then she's also having a relationship with the hitman too, and then he meets another girl, and the hitman is kind of like a playboy type guy. He's kind of a sleek, cool guy. Like he doesn't have a lot of things to say either. Like there's that scene on the bus where he's riding home, and like a guy from his past comes and like starts talking to him from behind. He's like, oh yeah, like we should work together, I can help you, I'm really wealthy now, I have a really successful business, you should come like work for me. And he's just like going off, and like the guy's just like literally sitting there like not saying a word to him. He just doesn't give a fuck, because he's like, this guy doesn't even know what he actually does, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, you look really good, like what do you do now, like you look like you have money. Yeah. And he's like actually just like a hitman, and it's sort of this,
but he's a really good hitman. He's just kind of dead inside at this point. He's like done with being a hitman. Yeah,
but it's interesting that everything in the movie seems so realistic. Like you would think that he's a more calculated hitman, but really he's just a fucking cowboy who like goes in and just shoots a bunch of people like dual wielding pistols. That seems like so ineffective, because I feel like he would just get shot at that point. Like that's his way of going about it, just going in and shooting a bunch of gangsters or whatever, and just never getting hit.
He just never gets hit.
Yeah, and that's like interweaved with this kind of more real life story, like these more realistic
that's the thing,
type shit.
So that's the thing I really loved about this movie. I thought was so much. I feel like the structure is so much better than Chungking Express in that sense, because it's so intertwined and free-forming, and all these stories flow over one another. It's very fluid in the sense of like someone's inner monologue can pop up. A character like Blondie has an inner monologue, and you're like, oh, I didn't even realize she was like a main character-ish kind of part of the story, you know? And like that the fluidity of the story I felt was so much better than Chungking Express, whereas Chungking Express is clearly like this love story at the beginning, halfway through completely shifts into a different love story.
Yeah. It doesn't even go back.
That's two different movies. Like that's I didn't like that at all, and that's something that completely threw me off Chungking Express. Yes, the second story is very iconic. I get it, but as a whole, Fallen Angels is like so much more like fluid and just like well structured compared to like that. Yeah,
and you go back to character. It's not like you're with the character and then just completely drops off and goes somewhere else. You never go back to them in the movie. Like this, Fallen Angels goes back and forth, and the way it transitions and stuff, and like I think there was like an action scene in it, and then it transitions to like the girl on the bed, like fucking hanging out, dude. Oh my god, it's so fucking cool. And it's like this sort of European aesthetic meets like Hong Kong style, and also kind of we're in this period of late 80s, early 90s Hong Kong action movies that were really popular at the time. And this has that little bit of a flair to it, but also has like a European art house vibe, like kind of this like Antonioni type vibe. But also you have like all these John Woo shoot 'em up movies, and I'm sure that he included that in the movie because he was like, oh yeah, we can market it as like an action movie, but really it's like a way more sophisticated than that. But it is like an action movie, but also like it's just like so cool looking. It's just a cool movie. It's like it's for cool people only.
Yeah. It is a really cool movie. It's like everyone's like too cool for school, especially the hitman, like too cool for school kind of guy.
And I don't even know how they shot. Like there's shots on the fucking motorcycle.
Oh, that was so cool, dude. Oh my god, yeah. I was thinking that's so iconic too. That's like something that I've seen that still like from even before, you know. Yeah,
and like sort of this guerrilla type style and the red. I love this movie. I think it's a masterpiece by Wong Kar-wai.
I do too. I love the story where that guy's like breaking into all these different stores, right? And like running them. And there's that one girl that he starts talking to, and she's like, she's jealous of this guy she's seeing who left her for like this other girl. and he gets involved with, like, and he goes down her story. Like,
Yeah.
I love that story
Yeah.
so much. Like, he's like, yeah, she doesn't even talk. Like, I don't even talk to her. She doesn't know anything about me. But we just started hanging out. Like, I think I'm in love now. You know, but that was so sweet. I love that.
But Blondie's the girl with the short hair.
Blondie's a girl with the short hair.
Yeah, and she's kind of a little crazy herself too.
Yeah, she is.
And the hitman like kind of likes that.
Yeah.
She's like different than other girls, and then they get romantically involved. And he like
leaves her.
Yeah, I mean, I guess he leaves her, but because he would. And then was he seeing his partner, the partner as well?
No, he never was. No, he wasn't seeing his partner. That was the whole thing. It's like, and then at the end, like the partner ends up with the guy who's the silent guy. So it's like full circle. You don't see it coming, kind of thing. Like,
yeah, I gotta watch it again because.
So good, yeah.
Connect the dots more. I mean, I gotta watch In the Mood for Love again. I mean, I'll probably like watch that next because it's on because I got the Criterion box. But
yeah.
He also has that other movie. It's like 2044 or something.
He's got a lot in there.
Yeah.
It's a huge box. It's a great collection, though.
Yeah.
Another thing I love about this is the most like neon Hong Kong out of his movies that I've seen so far.
Yeah, for the better.
Yeah. Nicholas Wayne Refn probably seen this movie. Fucking loves it.
Yeah.